Hi, I'm Ken Shorley, and I'm back with another rhythm-oriented tutorial for the Novation Circuit. Now, as you probably know, the circuit, like a lot of groove boxes, has a 16-step sequencer, and the usual rhythmic way that people deal with 16 is to break it up into four groups of four, and that's cool. But there are so many fours on so many floors, I thought we could try something different today, and we'll take our 16 and with a little number magic, we'll create some new rhythmic patterns, some new sweet 16s. Okay, here is let's make sure I've got an empty session. Starting with an empty session. Now, the first sweet 16 that I'd like to do is 2 5s and a 6. This still adds up to 16. 5 and 5 is 10, and 6 is 16. I'll start by doing some step sequencing. Because I'm a drummer, I like to get my hands on the circuit, but if finger drumming is not your thing, I'll show you how you can key in these rhythms using the step sequencer. So the idea is that if we have a group of 5, actually, hold on, let's make sure we've got some sounds going on here. Okay, so there's our kick. Okay, there's our snare. The idea is you want to emphasize the beginning of each grouping, the 5, the second 5, and the 6. So I'm going to put a kick on this first step here, which is at the beginning of 5. Then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's your group of 5. That's your next kick, which is at the beginning of the next pattern of 5. And I'm sure you know this, but just a reminder, these top 2 are the sequencer for drum 1, and this is the sequencer for drum 2. So they run in tandem, which you'll see like this. You can actually see they're both running at the same time. So this is step 1, our first kick. That's a group of 5. There's our next kick, starting at a group of 5, and then there's a kick for a group of 6. So it sounds like that. It's kind of interesting. So any group of 5 is really, there aren't that many possibilities for rhythms within that. The overall shape of a 5 is either a group of 3, then a group of 2, like a long and a short, or the opposite. The group of 2 comes first, and then the group of 3, short, long. So we'll try both of them. So what I want to do is do a long, short, which is 3 plus 2, 3 plus 2. So here we're going to count along, 1, 2, 3. Right there, at the beginning of 2, I'm going to put a snare. Then 1, 2, 3, right there. This makes sense, right? I could do it here. Let's do it here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then I'll divide the 6 into a 3 and a 3. So if it's all kick, which sounds kind of interesting. So what I want to do is to take this one, copy it onto the snare, and this one, put it onto the snare, this one onto the snare, and then erase those kicks. So now we have a pattern 5 plus 5 plus 6 going back and forth between kick and snare. And it actually, to my ears, sounds like a kind of a wonky 5-beat rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the real interesting part is when you add, let's get a hi-hat going. Oops. Okay. Let's get a hi-hat going on drum 3. And we're going to place this on every beat, every quarter note. So every 4 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And now check this out. Totally different feel, right? You could even double the hi-hats so you have 8th notes. Okay, let's go back to quarters. Now, I'm going to add a couple extra kicks just to create more of a funk groove. I'm going to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So now we've got in the kick 2 plus 3, and the snare is really accenting 3 plus 2. So we've got both going at the same time. And for a bit of extra lift, I'm going to add a kick in the very last step. And maybe that's it. I might move this snare over. We'll see how it sounds. Okay, cool. Let's start over here. Erase everything. Go back to nothing, 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 nothing. Okay. Now, we were doing a short and a long. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Kick, snare. So let's do the opposite. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and here. 1, 2, 3. Let's try something different for the 6. Rather than doing 2 3s, let's do a 4 plus 2. Just for fun. See how it sounds. So where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's check this out. So this is still 5 plus 5 plus 6. It just has a different shape. Not bad. Let's add in a little bit of hi-hat. Okay, cool. Let's do one for the finger drummers in the room. Da, 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 da. Okay. Now, there are these, maybe by the time this video comes out, we will have confirmed there's a new circuit. The one I'm interested in is supposedly called Circuit Rhythm, which looks like it might be more drummy. Looks like it's got a sampler built in, and I'm hoping that you can play it like a finger drumming machine. So this could come to naught, but we'll find out. So the reason I mention that is that it looks like on the new circuit, there is a click. If you believe the picture that you see on the internet, there's a click button. The old Circuit Classic has no click, so we've made ourselves a default click. Now, this is fine when you're looking at this screen, this sequencer is going by. It's easy to tell where the first beat is. As soon as I leave the screen, not so much. So I'm going to just adjust the pitch of this first one. I'm just going to bring it down so that I can hear that that's definitely the first beat. Okay, so then what we're going to do is, rather than use the step sequencer, we're going to practice playing this 5 and 5 and 6 pattern finger drum style. So what I have done, go to Shift Drum 1. Shift Drum 1 or Drum 2 or any of them will take you to the sample selection screen. And this is where you can audition all the various samples that are built in. Now I've set this up, I think I on a previous video walked through my finger drumming setup for Circuit, so I'll link to that up here, or up here. Where is it going to be? Up here? Suffice it to say, with my left hand, I can play, I have a series of kicks, and some snares, and some claps, so that I can do kick and snare sequences with my left hand. The other hand, I've got various hi-hats. It's not very loud. Open and close hats, and some other random percussion sounds. So the thing with this particular method of doing finger drumming is that you can only have one sample play at a time. Okay, so as soon as you take one that has a very long tail, as soon as I play the next sample, it cuts off the previous one. So I'm hoping the new Circuit Rhythm won't do that. Anyways, so let's do 3 plus 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Kick and a snare, kick and a snare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the last part, let's do the 6, break it up into 3 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're still going back and forth, kick and snare, but we're just outlining that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the advantage for me of doing this is that I can create a whole pattern all on drum 1. All right, let's check our tempo here. Now, 120, that might be a little quick. I mean, when you hear that, that's quarter notes, meaning that the 16 steps are going by, which is, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, doom, da, which is playable. For now, I'm going to slow it down a little bit, bring it down to 110, and go back. Let's just practice this to see what it feels like. Sounds totally different when you bring in this other hand because everything gets choked. But, sorry. Circuit rhythm, circuit rhythm. Okay, so if I create, let's say I have some sort of a bass groove going on. I mean, I could just key that in, but it would, I'll show you, it will go by very, very quickly, right? If I have this just set to one pattern, it goes by in a flash. And that's it. So obviously, if you wanted to do something a little more performative, you might want to either extend the number of patterns or set up a bass line. I'm going to get rid of that before I forget. Clear. So what I'm going to do is set up a bass line and maybe a synth patch, and then I'm going to play along with that and experiment with these different 16 note rhythms. Okay, it's a nice little bass that I designed. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, there's two options. You can either create a bass line that goes along with this sort of 5-5-6 feel, or create something which has a very straight, 4 on the floor feel, and then the drumming that you're doing will stand out. So maybe I'll do a bit of both. I'll do a pretty straight ahead bass line, and then I'll add some synth stuff which punctuates these 5s and 6s. What key are we in here? Let's go D, D minor. Let's give ourselves 2 patterns to play with. 2, 1. Okay, so we'll keep that going, and then I'll find a synth sound. Something choppy. There we go. Nice chop. And I'll do something which just has very straight 4 kind of feel. that what I said I was going to do? Well, I could do that. Let's try that. Let's try that. That's not at all what I thought I was going to do, but I like it. Okay, now have we totally forgotten the rhythm? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I do this kind of stuff, electronic rhythm stuff. I'm a percussionist, so I do lots of drumming and stuff about rhythm in general. So if you like this kind of deal, please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.